We are kicking things off with WWE Clash in Paris, where Seth Rollins is set to face one of his toughest challenges yet. The World Heavyweight Champion will defend his title in a fatal four-way match, with the rules making it one fall to a finish. That stipulation puts Rollins at serious risk because he doesn't have to be pinned or submit to lose the championship. Despite the danger, reports suggest that Rollins is expected to retain by pinning LA Knight. Adding more intrigue, there are strong rumors that Jey Uso could turn heel and join Rollins' faction The Vision, a possibility that was even teased by Rollins himself on Raw. But the real story here goes far beyond Clash in Paris. WWE appears to be setting the stage for a long-term storyline leading into WrestleMania. Creative plans reportedly involve building a major underdog journey, one that mirrors Daniel Bryan's 2014 run, Kofi Kingston's 2019 push, and this time, WWE has firmly positioned Sami Zayn as their next chosen figure to carry that role. Current reports indicate that Zayn is penciled in to win the Royal Rumble and challenge Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania next year. For that to happen, Rollins will likely keep the title throughout the year, with the Vision remaining intact despite teases of Braun Breaker possibly leaving the group. There is also buzz about Roman Reigns potentially clashing with Rollins if a singles match between the two ever gets set, but the immediate focus remains on the underdog story of Zayn. Much like Evolution tried to derail Daniel Bryan, the Vision could play the same role against Zayn on his road to WrestleMania. It's worth stressing that these plans are not final, and WWE has been known to pivot at any time. Still, if this storyline holds, fans may finally see Zayn crowned as World Heavyweight Champion on the grandest stage. How do you feel about this booking? Would you like to see Sami Zayn finally reach the top and capture a world title? The fallout from the disturbing KnockX Pro incident continues to grow, and now another name has been pulled deeper into the controversy. Alongside MMA legend Rampage Jackson's son Raja Jackson, pro wrestler AJ Mana is also under heavy fire after a video surfaced online showing him to tell Raja to give receipts to Syko Stu in the moments leading up to the brutal assault. Speaking on a recent edition of the F Y'all podcast, a visibly emotional AJ Mana revealed that his employer called him shortly after the video began making the rounds and terminated his contract on the spot. "I got a call from my job. We saw the TMZ video. You're an accessory to an attempted murder. We gotta let you go. I can't wrestle anymore," Mana said. The former KnockX Pro wrestler explained that his comments to Raja were just part of the show. He said it was all in character and done under the promotion's direction, arguing he shouldn't be blamed for what happened afterward. Mana clarified that he was not the promoter and argued that he should not be blamed for someone else's actions, stressing that the situation has unfairly ended his wrestling career. The scandal has also had larger consequences for KnockX Pro itself. The promotion, which is owned by WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, had recently entered into a partnership with WWE through the introduction of the WWE ID program. However, in light of the controversy, the Stanford-based company has reportedly cut ties with KnockX Pro, distancing itself from the backlash. While the KnockX Pro wrestler remains hospitalized with serious injuries, he's now conscious and showing his trademark humor as recovery begins. Monique C. Martin, a close friend of the KnockX Pro family, shared a post after visiting him alongside fellow wrestlers, writing, "Visiting Stuart Smith in the hospital with some KnockX Pro Entertainment and Academy facility. It was great to see everyone. Wish it was under better circumstances. Stu was in pain but in good spirits. We had a great conversation and he mooned us." Despite the circumstances, Stu is lifting spirits with jokes, determined to smile his way through this difficult chapter. Do you think KnockX Pro made the right call in firing AJ Mana, even though he insists he was only following the script? Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. Cody Rhodes has been off WWE television for the past couple of weeks after Drew McIntyre brutally took him out. With Clash in Paris right around the corner, many fans have been asking about his current status, and now there's finally some clarity. According to the Daily Mail UK, the American Nightmare is in Sydney, Australia, filming for his role as Guile in the upcoming Street Fighter live-action movie. Rhodes was spotted heading to set wearing his trademark American Nightmare hoodie, and underneath it, his full costume for the iconic video game character. Filming was originally scheduled to begin in September, but it appears production is kicked off earlier than expected. While the good news is that Cody won't be gone for too long, there's still no guarantee he'll make it back in time for the Clash in Paris Premium Live event on August 31st. Meanwhile, Drew McIntyre has kept Cody's name alive on WWE television, reportedly taunting him since the brutal attack on SmackDown earlier this month. Landing the role of Guile only further proves that Cody Rhodes has crossed over into mainstream stardom. Still, the question remains, will he find a way to show up in Paris this weekend, or will McIntyre get the spotlight all to himself? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And while Rhodes' Hollywood commitments are making headlines now, it's worth remembering that his career-defining decision to walk away from AEW back in 2022 is still being felt in the wrestling world today. In fact, his absence has become a talking point once again, this time thanks to some very pointed criticism of AEW president Tony Khan. Jake Hager didn't hold back in a new interview with Sportskedia's Wrestling Outlaws, where he openly criticized AEW president Tony Khan. The former WWE World Heavyweight Champion accused Khan of poor communication, weak leadership, and fostering chaos behind the scenes. He explained that while Tony had people around him to assist with storylines, no one had the authority to challenge his ideas or tell him no. According to Hager, things only got worse after Cody Rhodes left AEW. Rhodes had been heavily involved in the creative process, and once he was gone, the structure fell apart, leaving everything to feel like a free-for-all. Hager, who spent years as part of Chris Jericho's inner circle in AEW, made it clear he was unimpressed with Khan's creative direction. Hager said, "He can't make himself a sandwich, let alone write a storyline that will last. He can spend a ton of money and make a big debut and make lots of fireworks." He went further, saying even Chris Jericho struggled to reach Tony, claiming Khan would sometimes go weeks without responding to messages. That lack of communication, in Hager's view, gave the impression that AEW wasn't a top priority for its president. The problems didn't stop there. Hager revealed that production meetings eventually stopped taking place, and the roster didn't receive key information until late in the day, sometimes as late as 5 p.m. for a live show. He stressed this was far from normal in professional wrestling, and the only reason AEW managed to function was because of the money behind it. Trying to pitch new ideas was another major challenge. Wrestlers often had to wait until 1 or 2 a.m. after shows just to get a chance to speak with Khan. Even then, Tony's responses weren't always focused. Hager recalled one instance where, after suggesting an idea, Khan brushed him off with a vague answer, saying he didn't see Hager in a tag team with Sammy Guevara, and left it at that. For Hager, the underlying issue was clear. Cody Rhodes once played a stabilizing role in AEW's creative process, and his departure left a gap in leadership that was never filled. While the company continues to move forward without him, Hager's comments paint a picture of disorganization that he believes has only gotten worse with time. Kevin Owens revealed back in April that he would need neck surgery, and last month he officially went under the knife. Now, as he begins the road to recovery, the former Universal Champion has provided an update on his future inside the ring. Speaking at the 2025 Coke Zero Sugar 400 NASCAR event, Owens opened up about the procedure, his uncertain timeline for a comeback, and how the entire process has impacted him personally. While his ultimate goal is to return to wrestling, he admitted there is no clear answer on when or if that'll happen. The prizefighter explained that the lead-up to surgery was nerve-wracking. Doctors weren't sure how extensive the damage was or how many levels of his neck might require fusion. Fortunately, only one level needed to be fused, which Owens described as the best possible outcome. He praised his doctor for handling the surgery successfully, but made it clear that the real test lies ahead. Owens noted that the recovery depends entirely on whether the bones fuse properly, and there is no guarantee his body will heal the way it should. Some wrestlers in similar situations have been able to return, while others haven't been as lucky. For Owens, it's now a waiting game. He remains hopeful, aiming for a comeback within the next year, but he admitted that nothing is certain at this stage. Adding to the conversation, fans have also noticed that Owens had dropped a significant amount of weight since his neck surgery, a change that highlights just how much his recovery has reshaped his lifestyle. For now, Kevin Owens is keeping his spirits up, taking things day by day as he waits to see how his own body responds. Whether his journey ends with a triumphant return or a difficult decision, his resilience has already struck a chord with fans who continue to support him. Do you think Kevin Owens will be able to make a full comeback to WWE, or has his career already reached its final chapter? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Joe Hendry delivered one of the most surprising moments of WWE's latest UK tour, scoring a major victory over The Miz during a live event at the AO Arena in Manchester, England. The former TNA champion stunned the crowd when he stepped up to answer The Miz's open challenge, and the atmosphere only grew louder when Hendry walked away with a decisive win. The reaction inside the arena made it clear Hendry left a lasting impression on the Manchester audience. With this upset now under his belt, attention has quickly shifted to Hendry's future. Was this a sign WWE is testing the waters for a potential full-time main roster run, or was it simply a special one-off moment designed for the UK crowd? Jack Perry may be closer to an AEW return than many expected, and now a new wave of fan speculation has only added to the buzz. The former Jungle Boy has been absent from AEW programming since November 2024 when he dropped the TNT Championship to Daniel Garcia at Full Gear. He did briefly resurface at Wrestle Dynasty in January, where he challenged Yota Tsuji for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, but came up short. Since then, Perry has been consistently off AEW television. That silence may be coming to an end. Fans began speculating that Perry was the masked doctor featured in Luchasaurus' recent return vignette, and the theory quickly gained traction online. Addressing the rumor during a Fightful Select Q&A, Sean Ross Sapp leaned into the intrigue. "Well, if you're ready for some reckless speculation, here we go," Sapp said. "I asked someone close to Jack Perry on July 27th what was up with Perry after our audience had been asking us very heavily about his status. They said that the wheels would be moving on him returning within a month or so, and that would certainly match up with him being in the Luchasaurus video." Sapp added that when he directly asked an AEW source whether Perry was indeed the masked figure, the response was telling. "When I outright asked an AEW source if it was Perry, they didn't reply, and I've often said that most people in the industry just avoid answering things instead of lying." Earlier reports noted that Perry had been backstage at AEW tapings this summer, with internal discussions taking place about how and when to bring him back. While there had once been talk of a possible feud with Kenny Omega, those plans never materialized. Importantly, Perry's absence has not been injury-related. Instead, he's been staying home since January, waiting for the right time to return. Now, with the TNT Championship picture evolving and Luchasaurus stepping back into the spotlight, Perry's reemergence could shake up the AEW landscape in a big way. Do you think Jack Perry was the masked doctor in Luchasaurus' return video? And if so, are you ready to see what his next run in AEW looks like? Share your theories in the comments below. The wrestling world continues to rally behind Syko Stu after his brutal assault, but WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry has sparked controversy with his stance on the matter. Henry faced backlash after arguing that responsibility didn't fall solely on Raja Jackson, but also on the organizers, veterans, and even Stu himself for failing to properly guide the young fighter. Many fans accused him of defending Raja, but Henry doubled down during an appearance on Austin's 1300 The Radio station. Henry dismissed accusations of racism, saying his comments were about ignorance in wrestling, not race. He accused critics of online bullying and stood firm in his belief that veterans acted irresponsibly, pointing to a pre-show beer can incident as an example of horrible work. While he expressed sympathy for Stu, Henry insisted both sides share blame, making it clear he has no intention of apologizing. "I just want to go on record as saying I'm making zero apologies for what I said. I meant every word, every single word I meant. All of you fans out there that have these racist tendencies and all the vitriol for me, have at it. You can't hurt me. I'm bulletproof." It's clear that Henry isn't being swayed by the online backlash to his opinion, staying true to his feelings about it regardless of how many fans complain about him. Do you think Mark Henry's comments were fair or out of line? Or is Henry incorrect in his judgment? Please share your thoughts and feedback in our comments section below. We will not be providing a comprehensive review of AEW Dynamite today, but we are going to cover the majority of the show today. Daniel Garcia had the chance to prove himself against Jon Moxley this week, and the young wrestler pushed the Death Rider much more than he anticipated, focusing an attack on his right knee. Despite Garcia's attack, Moxley managed to escape with the victory after getting the pin with a small package reversal just moments after barely kicking out of a pile driver. After the match was over, Wheeler Yuta hit the ring to address Darby Allin, claiming that Moxley would not be accepting his challenge to a match at All Out, but that's when the lights in the arena went out. Yuta appeared to invoke the name of Bryan Danielson after he claimed that he had slayed the American Dragon, which is when Hook's symbol appeared on the Tron as he made his way to the ring. Hook had a new theme song, So Tell the Girls That I'm Back in Town by JJ Johansson, and Yuta charged him as soon as he got into the ring, but it backfired. Hook locked in the Red Rum and connected with a right hook before making his way back down the ramp, having effectively made his impact. It was previously reported by Fightful that Hook has re-signed with the company and has been locked into a long-term deal, and it's clear that AEW has big plans for the former FTW champion. The fact that he has been immediately put into a storyline with the Death Riders is a positive sign on that front, and his aggressive, cold, and calculated behavior is something that has always been well received by the fans. Hook has been missing since Double or Nothing when he was part of a brutal Anarchy in the Arena match where he sustained a concussion that took him out of action, but he's now back and ready to continue building his own career. Heading into the match, it was surprising that Garcia was able to push Moxley in the manner that he did, as Garcia had cooled off significantly in recent months. However, it seemed like the former WWE star was attempting to elevate him again with this match. The goal was achieved as Garcia immediately felt like the man who defeated Bryan Danielson back in 2022, with this being an incredible performance from everyone involved. Now it's crucial that AEW doesn't miss with the follow-up. Garcia did a great job here, and Tony Khan must ensure that he's rewarded by pushing him once again, possibly even with a heel turn to join the Death Riders. It would be interesting to see AEW take Garcia in that route, as it would benefit him as a wrestler, while the Death Riders could also use another man being in the group for the numbers. However, Yuta and Garcia have feuded in the past, and the two men certainly don't see eye to eye, which is something that would need to be addressed in storyline to allow them to work together. It was brilliant to see Hook back on television though, and his new presentation is an upgrade from what he was doing before his injury, yet it appears he'll be keeping the best aspects of his character that has worked so far. Elsewhere, Adam Copeland and Christian reunited in the ring for the first time in 13 years at Forbidden Door, as they defeated Kip Sabian and Killswitch in an impressive performance as a team. They hadn't made it clear before that they were working together to deal with Christian's problem and then Copeland's issue with FTR, therefore, it feels like a natural conclusion that they'll end up going down that road. That's a journey that began on Dynamite this week as FTR and Stokely Hathaway kickstarted the show with an in-ring promo, but the heels were quickly interrupted by the Rated R superstar. Copeland then teased FTR with the idea that Cage would be next to him, only for his partner to appear behind FTR in the ring as he hit Hathaway with a kill switch, as a brawl between the two teams then began. Security broke them all up, eventually leaving the veteran team in the ring together as Cage looked to address FTR's fathers, carrying on the classic gimmick that he had when he was a heel. Copeland attempted to stop him, telling his longtime friend not to stoop that low, but the fans booed him for that, so he stepped back and allowed Christian to say what was on his mind, which gained a huge pop. A formal challenge was then made by Copeland for FTR to compete against them at All Out on September 20th, which is a huge dream match for many wrestling fans. The heat is strong between the two teams, so that even with no gold on the line, it could genuinely be the main event due to the quality of everyone involved and how invested the fans are. Meanwhile, it's going to be fun to see how they play off of each other in the next month, which will add even more excitement to the storyline. Considering the talent that both teams have, who do you think will end up going over in this match? Sound off in the comments below. The nostalgia of seeing Cope and Christian together remains a lot of fun, and AEW also capitalized on the nostalgic feeling by setting up the 2300 arena to resemble the old ECW as closely as possible in a modern arena. However, being in the 2300 arena has brought a negative light onto AEW this week, despite the excitement that fans had for the company's residency in the iconic venue, as union members have begun protesting outside the historic venue. IATSE Local 8, which is a group that represents theatrical stagehands and crew, have accused AEW and the venue of paying below the union standard for wages and benefits, creating a picket line throughout the week. It has cast a negative light on Tony Khan's company, but AEW and the 2300 arena are disputing the claims, having outright denied the wage violation. AEW has a residency at the venue until September 11th, with multiple Dynamite and Collision episodes being taped at the 2300 arena. Therefore, Tony Khan will be hoping that the situation resolves itself before that point. AEW Dynamite also saw a surprise return take place this week as Kenny Omega was back, despite speculation that he was going to be taking an extended period of time off after his war against Kazuchika Okada at All In Texas. The big moment occurred when Adam Page delivered a passionate promo, giving a heartfelt shout out to Will Ospreay, who is currently out of action due to a neck injury. However, that emotional moment quickly turned sour as Don Callis interrupted, taunting Page and teasing that a member of the Don Callis family will end up taking the title from him. That's when the ring filled with Callis' crew, a situation that seemed negative and daunting for the champion, but that's when Kenny Omega's music hit and the cleaner stormed his way down to the ring. Omega wasn't alone though, as he had Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight by his side, as the three men ran off the Don Callis family and stood tall alongside the Cowboy in what was an epic moment. It sets up an exciting team-up next week, bringing Omega and Page back together again as the former AEW World Tag Team Champions will face the Don Callis family in a moment that's set to be a hit with fans. The segment did sadly feel a little rushed overall, but seeing the two men back together was something that made fans happy given how popular Omega and Page were as a team. However, it would also make more sense that Hangman would still want revenge on the Death Riders, so some explanation is still needed to tie up all loose ends. The Callis family going after all the gold makes sense due to how over they are as a heel group, but it's hard to say which man will go after the world title to challenge Page moving forward. Considering Okada, Konosuke Takeshita, and Hechicero are all involved in different title pictures right now, it's unclear who will feud with Paige, but people are excited to find out. Do you think Kenny Omega will be the one to keep the Don Callis family in check, or is AEW just gearing up for another all-out war? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. How did you find AEW Dynamite this week? Let us know in the comments section.